So round 1, so you get your working yarn again, what we'll be doing is placing single crochets in every single stitch, and we'll be doing that for round, so what I'm going to do is start this as round 1 again, just to make it nice and easy, so that I'll be saying 1, 2, 3 and carry on. Okay, so what we'll be doing is placing single crochets in every stitch, every available stitch. So what we're going to do is place your single crochets as you were. Come on, stitch marker, getting in my way. Okay, I've done a couple because I was getting in the way. So I've placed 3 single crochets so far. So you just keep placing your single crochets. So here's my join. So hopefully you go in, you pull out, and I'll try and pull that knot partly in. Finish your single crochet. So that's that, and there's those little tails, and what I'll do later is just pop them in so it's nicely tucked in. So that ended up quite nice. So if you make the knot very small, it won't be a problem. So I'll tuck that in later with the end of this crochet hook or the scissors or my needle, because if I get my needle, it has a nice end to it. It's nice and flat, so it's very handy to just pop in, pop the tails in. Okay, so just keep doing your single crochets in every single available stitch. So keep going round. Now you're into the jewel. So we were placing 1 single crochet all the way along the head so far. Now we've reached the jewel. So what we're going to do is just pop your crochet hook along these stitches along the bottom here, just placing a single crochet. Oh, okay, undone a little bit. Let's try again. Make sure all the threads are on. Right, let's try again. So pop in, pull up a stitch, being a bit stubborn there. Then again, just long, just catching the stitch. So you keep doing that. Oh, it is a bit more tighter because of where we've sewn it up, but you will be able to get some stitches in, like so. So keep doing that all the way along, like so, just making stitches along the bottom there. And you keep doing this all the way and try and make 24 stitches at the end of this round. So if you do have more or less, try decreasing and increasing around here. So just keep going. So like so, I'll make one more in this jaw section. So in that corner, I think it'll be nice to have a stitch. And wiggle your crochet hook out, make a stitch, and then go into that corner there. That is the most fiddly part, but once you get past that, it's fine. Then place your single crochets in the remaining stitches on the head, like so. There. So this is how our work is looking at the end of round 1. So you're just placing single crochets in every single stitch, and with this jaw you are making the stitches as you've sewn up the jaw to make this flat part. You are just catching where you've sewn it up, just catching the stitches and making the single crochets. So hopefully you'll have around 24 stitches, and if you don't, so if you have too many or too less, with this part here, part of the head, increase or decrease to make 24. So it's easier to keep track of as we carry on with this pattern. Okay, so I counted my stitches and I had 22. So what I did is I undone this part here, so right in the corner, and I increased there, done a couple more, and I'd done my increase on the end as well, so it just makes it nice. So do the same. So I had 22 and I increased to make 24. So if you did have too many, decrease. If you have too less, increase. Just in this section here. Okay, so now we'll be moving on to round 2. Okay, so now we'll be moving on to round 2. We will be sorting this out in a bit, so don't worry. So I've just placed one so far, and we're just going to carry on and place, tighten that up a bit, placing your single crochets in every single stitch. So you should have 24 stitches from the previous round, like so. Okay, so you just keep putting your single crochets in every stitch. So there's 24 stitches in this round, and then the same again in the following round. So this is round 2 and round 3. So just keep putting one single crochet in every single stitch, and I'll meet you near the end of round 3. So this is how my work is looking at the end of round 3. And I've pulled that all out just so I can show you properly. So when we put some stuffing in the head, this is how it will look. Just like that. And while I'm looking, I'll get my needle, and where that tails are, I'll just pop them in like that. See? Just like that, nice and easy. And that's where the joint was, where we joined our two tails together for the yarns, like that. So now it's inside the work, like that. So I hope your work looks similar to mine. So that's how our head is looking, the jaw, like that, like so. I'm quite happy with how it's looking so far, and I hope yours looks very similar. So like I said before, that was the most fiddly bit, but it is worth it. So you're just going along, placing your single crochets, and then catching the stitches from the jaw, making the single crochets, then making it add up to 24 stitches, increase or decrease, then you carry on just placing the single crochets. So you do that for round 1 was the most fiddly, then round 2 was just add in your single crochets, and then again for round 3. So we will carry on to round 4. Okay, so now we'll be moving on to round 4, and it's a little bit different. So what we're going to do is do a invisible decrease. So what we're going to do is you catch the back loop like so, wrap over, pull through, leave it like that, then go into the next one, do exactly the same, catch the back loop only, wrap and pull through. So you've got 3 loops on the hook, then yarn over and pull through all 3. So you're making 2 stitches into 1, like so. So you do that, then you do it again, so you do it 4 times. So 1, 2, pull through, then again, and again, pull through, and the last time go in the back loop, wrap, pull through, or yarn over, pull through, go into the back loop again of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over and pull through all 3. So you're making those 8 stitches into 4 stitches now. Then for the rest of the round you will be just placing your single crochets. So I'll do that. So that's just placing your single crochets in the rest. So just at the start you are just decreasing, invisible decrease in the next 8 stitches, making them into 4 stitches. So you just keep going round, placing your single crochets, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I've got 3 stitches left, and just placing my single crochets. Oh, lost it there. 1, 2, and 3, like so. Yeah, so that's how it looks, like so. It will look better once it's stuffed, but for now, so don't know how I'm holding it. So there we go. So here we go. So you were doing the invisible decrease in the next technically 8 stitches, making them into 4. So at the end of that round you should have 20 stitches. So now we'll be moving on to round 5. Okay, so round 5 is nice and straightforward. We are just placing single crochets in every single stitch. So that will be for the next few rounds. So it is round 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in the next 8 stitches you're just doing single crochets in every single stitch for the next 8 rounds. So like so, I'll just make a start with you. So hold it whichever way you're comfortable. So you might hold it a bit different to me, and that's perfectly fine, just as long as you're comfortable. So that's my first single crochet. So like so, I'll just do a few. Oh, my yarn's getting stuck under my arm. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll pop in that corner. 6, and one more. Why not? Okay, so like so. So what you're going to do is place your single crochets in every single stitch for this whole round, and in total 8 rounds. So remember, it's round 5, which we're doing now, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from 5 to 12 you will be just placing your single crochets. Okay, so I'll meet you near the end of round 12. Hello again everyone, so this is how my work is looking at the end of round 12, and I've got 3 stitches left just to do with you. So just placing your single crochets in those last 3. Last one. There. So this is how my work is looking. Yeah, his jaw kind of goes like that. That's nice and open. So I hope your work looks very similar to mine. So you should still have 20 stitches in every round that was. So 20 stitches at the end of this round. So I hope your work looks similar. And now we'll be moving on to round 13. Right, so round 13, and what we're going to be doing is changing into our yellow. So what you're going to do is go into that first stitch, and just get comfy, go into that first stitch, drop that tail and introduce your yellow, leave a bit of a tail. Oh, go on, wrap it round and pull it through like so, and finish single crochet. Then keep your first stitch. So it does look like it's purple, but that's just because it was this tail at the time, so the rest will be yellow now. So you were just changing into that colour, and off we go, just placing single crochets in every single stitch. So just keep going all the way around using yellow now. Oh, come on, there you go. So you just keep doing that all the way around, and it'll be the same with just this yellow going into every stitch. For this is round 13, so we'll be doing 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. So 5 rounds of single crochet using the yellow yarn, and I will meet you back at the end of round 17. Right, so this is how my work is looking at the end of round 17. So I will do these last stitches with you. So 3 left, 1, 2, 3. The stitch marker doesn't like me today. There. So you were doing 5 rounds of yellow. So this is how our work is looking so far. Like so. So you were just placing 1 single crochet in every stitch, and please cut that the purple yarn, and we will be cutting this yellow as well. Get my scissors. So I'll go cut a bit just so you can weave it in, and we will be using that yellow soon again. So like so. So just make sure you cut the purple and cut the yellow. Okay, so now we'll be moving on to round 18. Okay, so remove your stitch marker and go into the next stitch, drop that tail, get your purple again, grab it, put it on and leave a tail. I do like wrapping it from behind, but do whichever way you're comfortable. Pull up and then finish your single crochet. Oh, got it. There we go. And that's your first single crochet of the round. So now you've changed back to your purple, and we'll be using the purple now for a little while, and just doing the single crochets in each stitch like so. Like that. So now you'll be placing your single crochets in every single stitch for a few rounds. So we're on round 18, and we'll be still doing our single crochets in purple till round 23. So that is this round, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. For 6 rounds, just placing your single crochets in each stitch. So you just keep doing that, and I'll meet you near the end of round 23. Right, so this is how my work is looking at the end of round 23. So we have 3 stitches left. So just put in your single crochet in those last 3. Like so. There. So that's it. So you're just doing single crochets in every single stitch for the 6 rounds. And now I hope your work looks similar to mine. He will look a bit better when you stuff him. So that's how my work is looking at the end of round 23, and now we'll be moving on to round 24. Right, so now we are moving on to round 24, and what we'll be doing is placing a single crochet up until we're about not halfway across the jaw, but just shy, so just before you reach the middle. So, and then we'll stop and I'll show you what to do. So get your stitch marker, take that out, then place your single crochet, get your stitch marker again, plonk that in. Then, so that was 1. I'll put a few in and see where we get to. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's see roughly where we are there. So we're getting there to about the jaw, so I'll put a couple more in. So that's 11 and 12, so 12 single crochets. So just, so there we are. So we'll be starting to put our different colour, we'll be adding our yellow now. So yeah, that's where the jaw is, so it's just shy of the middle, so just about where the jaw starts really. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I've placed my 12 single crochets up until the point that I wanted to stop, so just shy of the middle of the jaw. And what we're going to do is introduce our yellow now. So what you're going to do with this purple yarn is you bring it forward towards you and just use your thumb to hold it in place. This will stay attached for the whole project. And now we're going to introduce our yellow. So what we're going to do is go into the next stitch, which is that one, like so, and just make sure that is out the way. Get your yellow and wrap that round. So hold that, pull it through and finish the single crochet. So that's 1, and push that tail out the way, hold that down, the purple, then go into the next stitch, single crochet. So that's your yellow done. And what you're going to do, this will stay attached for the rest of the project as well, and what you do is you push that one back and hold it out the way. And we're going to reintroduce our purple again. So you hold it across and you go into the next stitch and do your single crochet. And you can see that stitch is a bit loose, so just gently pull that tail to tighten up a little bit. So like so. And now just place your single crochets in each stitch like you would. but now we've introduced the yellow part for your Ekans belly, like so. You just keep going until you reach the end, like so. There. So now you've introduced the yellow. So like I said, the purple tail and the yellow tail will be attached for the rest of the project. And the trick is, when you're not using the purple, bring it forward. When you're not using the yellow, bring it back. And I'll show you what we do as we go. Okay, so that's how it looks. And now we'll be moving on to round 25. Right, so now we're moving on to round 25. And we'll be placing our single crochets in each stitch. So I'll just place my first one and awkwardly get my stitch marker, plonk that in, and get some yarn and just carry on as we've been doing. Oh. Come on. And just put in your single crochets. That stitch marker does not like me. And you just put your single crochets in up until 2 purple stitches before your yellow. So 2 stitches before we reach the yellow. So just keep going, like so, and one more. There, so you've got your 1, 2 purple stitches. Okay, so we've reached our 2 purples before the yellow one. And pull. So now we'll introduce our yellow again. And what we're going to do is reattach it and we'll crochet over the tail. I'll show you as we go. So you go into that stitch and just make sure that purple tail's down. So it's out the way and you can hold it out the way with your thumb. So go into that next stitch, hook the yellow, pull it through and be a bit generous with it. Yarn over and finish the stitch. So like so. And we're going to crochet 4 of those. So that was your first one. And you go over that tail that we pulled. So I'll try and get that on the camera when I've got it. As you can see, where we've pulled it across, we'll be stitching over it or merge it in with the stitches, so you won't see lines going across. Okay, so that was 2, 3, and 4 in that yellow one. So that's 4, including that purple bit there. And what we're going to do is bring that yellow back and bring that across. But we don't need to work this purple tail in because it's on the inside of your work. So you don't need to worry. But just make sure it's a bit loose because you don't want it pulled too tight because it'll make your Ekans a bit squidged in the middle. So what we're going to do is go into the next stitch. So that purple one there. Hook over your purple tail. Pull your yellow if it's a bit loose, so just pull it a little bit. Then yarn over and finish the stitch, so like so. And there's that purple tail. If you want to pull it a little bit just to make it a bit more loose. So that's that stitch. So you've reattached your purple tail and now you just keep putting your single crochets in till the end of the round. They're just placing them all the way to the end. One last one. There. So there. So now you have 4 stitches. So it was 2, now 4. So we're going to increase his belly until it's 8 stitches wide. So I'll just keep doing this with you. Now we'll be moving on to round 26. Okay, now we're moving on to our round 26. And we'll be increasing our yellow stitches to 6. So you keep doing this. Oh, Watch out for that stitch over there. So that's my first one. Where is it? This stitch marker doesn't like me for some reason. Right, so now, oh, keep going into the other stitches. So you just keep going until 2 purple stitches before the yellow. The 2 stitches before we reach the yellow stitches. Okay, so now we've reached our purple ones before the yellows. So again, bring this purple back and tuck it out of the way and reintroduce the yellow. So go into that stitch, into the next stitch, pull that tail out of the way, introduce the yellow again, yarn it over and pull it through, and just give it a bit more loose. So we'll be working around that in a minute. Again, you don't want it too tight because it'll just make your belly a bit like squidged inwards. So finish that stitch and pull that purple tail a bit to tighten it up. There. So that's one. And if I show you quickly, so you can see this yellow going across. We stitch in as we go so it doesn't stay like that. I'll show you afterwards, and that's a starting tail. So when you go in, I'll show you, go into the stitch and also catch that tail. So now you're just catching it as you go, so it won't get caught on anything. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I'll just show you how that yellow looks. So that's 6 stitches. So you can see that tail doesn't appear anymore because we worked it in. Okay, so now again you get the yellow out the way and reintroduce your purple. So just try and make it nice and loose. If you want to, just try and pull it with your thumb, like so. Just hold it however you're comfortable. So now you go into that purple stitch, wrap round and pull up a loop and single crochet and pull that yellow a little bit to tighten it. And you can see inside these haven't been worked into, but they're nice and loose. As it's inside, it doesn't really affect how it looks. So now you just carry on placing your single crochets, tighten it a little bit by pulling, and off we go. So it's not too difficult, that bit. It's a bit fiddly at first, and then once you get the hang of it, it's fine. So now into that last stitch. Ooh, without getting caught with that stitch marker, that doesn't like me. There we go. So now we've increased to our 6. So that's how my Ekans belly's looking, like so. So I hope yours looks very similar. We'll be moving on to round 27, where we will be putting 8 yellow stitches. Okay, so round 27, and get some more yarn, because I've got my yellow there and my purple's on the floor in a bowl that unravels it nice and easy. So here we go. So remove that and go into the next one. Oh yeah, I did forget to mention, make sure you have 20 stitches at the end of each round, so we're not increasing or decreasing as we go. So So just make sure you count 20 at the end. So we place our single crochets all the way until two purple stitches before the yellow. I just count the stitches on top, so the purple, that's on top, so I'll show you. So you've got the 2 purples there ready to be worked into. Okay, so you get your purple, bring it forward and reintroduce your yellow. So it's nice and easy really. So we've reached our 2 before the yellow. So the purple stitch is ready to be worked into, like so. So pull this a little bit and tuck it out the way. Then go into that stitch, make sure that's out of the way, and reintroduce your yellow. So if you do it that the forward or round the back, as long as you just yarn it over. I like doing it this way if it wants to. Yarn over and pull through gently, and like so. Grab the yellow tail and give it a bit of a pull so it's not so tight, like so. So now yarn over and finish that single crochet and pull that purple tail a little bit just to tighten it. Okay, so that's 1, and hook in that yellow tail as we go as well. So that's 2, 3. So I thought I'll give you how I do it. I kind of push that tail up with this finger, my middle finger, just to make sure I catch it. So I insert and keep going. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 into that very small one if I just pull my work out the way. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You include that purple for now as it is part of the yellow, but as we work round you make that the purple on top, but it is one of the yellow stitches. I know it sounds a bit confusing, but it is yellow, but it's got the purple top. Okay, so that's 8. Get the yellow tail and pull it back and reintroduce your purple. Hold it with your thumb, make it a bit loose. Go into that stitch, the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and make that stitch. Pull that yellow tail a little bit and place your single crochets. So there we go. 1, 2, 3. I know you might have noticed that this bit does rotate, so that's fine because it is increasing the yellow stitches, so this will get smaller, but now it shouldn't change because we're just keeping the same 8 now. We're not increasing the width anymore. So that's how his belly's looking, like so. So we're not going to increase, it's going to stay that width. So I'll show you inside. That's how the purple looks, and the yellow is all worked in. So looks like it's not even there. So I might, if you want to, before we carry on, I'm going to weave these tails in, and if you want to do the same as well, it just gets them out the way. So I'll do that and come back and we will start round 28 together.